Now that you've been reminded about absolute value, I want to talk about how we find the distance without actually using a number line. So when I ask you what the distance is between 5 and 2, you know that it's 3 because 5 minus 2 is 3. But then if I ask you for the distance between 2 and 5, 2 minus 5 is negative 3. But we wouldn't say that the distance between 2 and 5 is negative 3. We would say that it's positive 3. So the key here is not just that we're subtracting, but also that we're finding the absolute value of whatever we subtract, because the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. We're going to do that for everything on the next page. So get that written down and flip the page. So like I just mentioned, we find distance by subtracting and taking the absolute value. We're going to write that down. So for part A, it asks us what the distance is between 0 and negative 8. So we're going to first show it on the number line. Then we're going to find the distance by subtracting and taking the absolute value. So draw your picture on your number line. The distance between 0 and negative 8 is 8 units. I'm going to write how I would do this using math by subtracting and taking the absolute value. So when I see the words, what is the distance between, that tells me absolute value and subtract. Between 0 and negative 8. That's how I'll start every problem. Then I'll simplify. 0 minus negative 8 is the same thing as 0 plus positive 8. We talked about that yesterday, which equals the absolute value of 8. What is the absolute value of 8? It's just 8. So that's what told me, box in my answer, that the distance between negative 8 and 0 is 8 units long. For the next one, once again, it asks, what is the distance between these two numbers? I'm not going to draw my picture. I want you to do that in a second. But I'm going to get started by writing absolute value of the first number minus the second number. Then I want you to simplify and try the one on the bottom.